Hi, YouTube peeps. How are you all doing? If you are tuning in on Kingston Creative's YouTube channel, welcome to the Catapult Meetup. Now, we're going to start. You guys have the preview. You're in the back room. We're going to let people into our Zoom meeting soon. We're going to give people a couple more minutes just to gather. And then tonight, we're going to be having a very, very special event. We are going to be talking to some of the Catapult awardees. And if you don't know what Catapult is and you just happened upon this little chat, stay tuned. You're in for a real treat. Okay, so Caribbean artist coming at you in 2 minutes.
Hello?
Hi, everyone, and welcome. We are 1 minute away from starting our Catapult Meetup. So I'm going to ask everyone to mute themselves and settle in because we're going to have a really exciting discussion tonight with some of our Catapult, a Caribbean Arts Grant awardees. Yeah, so we're looking forward to it. So we're just giving people a couple more minutes to come in. We've got 40 people in the Zoom chats. We've got some people on the YouTube Live. So let's just give everybody a couple more minutes just to settle in before we start with Catapult, the meetup. And hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Catapult Meetup, a very, very special event. Here at Kingston Creative, we are celebrating 12 Days of Gratitude, just leading up to the Christmas season. And today we're celebrating Catapult. And personally, I'm so grateful for Catapult. This Caribbean Arts Grant program came at the right time. So everyone would know, especially if you're a creative in this chat, that COVID hit in March. And we all realized across the region that creatives and creative entrepreneurs and cultural practitioners, we had to get paid. We had to stay visible. We had to learn these new digital skills to equip ourselves to survive this pandemic. So we were just kind of doing what we could do here at Kingston Creative, which was a very small grant, just helping people to go live, to go digital. It was called Digital Commissions. And when we were posting on Twitter about the miracles that people were performing with these tiny grants, someone hit us up in the DMs, as they say, and the rest is history. It went from 2.3 million to $47 million that we called the Catapult Grant. And it went from one island to all 34 islands across the region. So we're super, super happy that this opportunity came to us and that we were able to say yes. So from that point on, we figured out how to do it. We built a team. We reached out to the best regional partner that we could find. Fresh Milk in Barbados is an arts organization that I had the pleasure and the privilege of coaching when I was working with Aspire Barbados, an NGO over there. And it all came together very, very effortlessly. And so Fresh Milk and Kingston Creative developed the program that you all know as Catapult. So it's very strange because some of the artists on this chat, we've got 60 people in the room right now. Some of you would have just done some training. Some of you would have been on a lockdown virtual salon discussion. Some of you would have been stay-at-home residencies. And some of you would have gotten a website built with some technical assistance from consultants. So each of you knows maybe a different part of the 6 programs that made up Catapult. In addition, there was an artist showcase where we're creating a magazine that is not yet published, but will be coming out in December and January. And then there's also Caribbean Creative Online, yet another program where 100 artists across the region were invited to go online, get that practice, put your work out there. And this was the whole purpose of Catapult. So when we're looking at Catapult, we started off and we said, okay, we set a target of 1,048 artists or benefits that should be given out. And we exceeded that target. Right now, we are at 1,210 and counting. Clap on yourself and clap the team. And so it's only when I realized that we had succeeded. By the way, my name is Andrea Chung, and if you just tuned in, I'm Andrea Chung, and I'm the Executive Director for Kingston Creative. Only when I realized that we were going to pass our target did I kind of, throttle back and start to get present to the people, all of you wonderful artists and amazing creative people who are benefiting from this. Just how many artists' lives have been impacted on a very personal level. Just how many people that I knew of their work and really respected their work that actually applied to the program and were doing amazing things with this tiny bit of support that they were given and this new digital knowledge about intellectual property and e-commerce and digital marketing. There's stories left and right of people who their website is up and they're now making US dollar sales of their art, finding a new audience in the middle of this crazy, crazy pandemic for paintings that had been piling up in their living room. And so the sense of hope and camaraderie that Catapult gave as the artists, as you all started to kind of, collaborate with each other and talk to each other, that was really amazing too. You guys have been building networks across borders, across linguistic divides, across some old colonial boundaries that separated us. And really together, I feel like we've been finding hope for the creative sector in a very, very dark time. And so today we are grateful for Catapult. And so we're bringing together, you'll have noticed on your timelines, on your social media feeds, Catapult, Catapult, Catapult. I'm a proud Catapult awardee. You all have been cheering each other on. And now we're going to actually get to talk to each other and to listen to the artists and hear what this experience has been like. Not just Catapult, but also navigating this pandemic. So tonight is going to be a meetup. We're going to talk to, I believe, 6 artists. We're going to speak to Angelique McKay, Daphne Menard, Imani Edwards, Giselle Singer, Rochelle Ward, and we're going to be hosted by Jacqueline Pasley. So let me tell you a little bit about Jacqueline Pasley. She is a 20-year professional in people. She works in human resources, specializes in learning and development, and she was the absolute best person to shepherd our digital creative training, where we delivered so many training sessions in, as I said, IP, digital marketing, e-commerce, and so forth. So she handled all of our training programs for the Catapult program, and she's a perfect person to do that, but also she's a perfect person to guide us through tonight. So she's going to be our facilitator and our host. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Ms. Jackie P to take us through this meetup. Thank you so much. It's been a real privilege working on Catapult and serving you all.
Thank you, Andrea, and good afternoon, all. What a warm welcome and amazing introduction there. This afternoon, we have an amazing lineup of artists just eager and raring to go. They want to share their stories and experience with you. But before we do, or get into the program, I want to just take care of a few housekeeping and administrative matters, right? I too, before I do that, I too would like to put my own personal endorsement on the Catapult initiative. It's been a really amazing and fulfilling experience for all. And as we close the curtains on this initiative, I just want to say that to all the awardees, congrats to all the persons who was a part of the program. I'm sure you will agree with me that it was in fact an amazing, amazing journey. And so as we were prepared to hear from our awardees this afternoon, let's just talk a little bit about a few things that we want to take care of before we jump into it. The first thing I want to say is that this is an inclusive space. It is a safe space. It's a space where we want to be able to share freely and mutually respectfully to all. And so we want to be guided by that. We also want you to be aware of your surroundings as you're part of this session. The noise, we want to ensure that you mute your mics so that the noise level is reduced and there's very few, if any at all, distractions, so that we can have an amazingly seamless delivery in this afternoon's session. Our awardees will be sharing momentarily, and we ask that your questions we shared. You can place these in the chat. If you're not quite sure where this is on your device, you might want to take a few seconds right now to identify where this is. It's, you know, if you hover your at the bottom of the screen of your smart device, you will find it there. Please feel free to put all your questions and comments in the chat, and we will of course take those questions. I want to take this opportunity to just um, to share with you that Catherine is here with us. She will be monitoring the questions and comments coming in from YouTube. And so, Karen, you want to give a quick shout out to everybody that's in the room this afternoon? Okay, we see her waving. Yes, thank you, Catherine, for that. Okay, great. So let's continue. At the end of the formalities, we will have what we call a free form networking that each, you know, sometimes the creatives may find that there are great opportunities in just networking among themselves, right? And so in this meetup, we want to present that opportunity as well. And so we will be able to speak a little bit later with each other at the end of closer to the end of this session. Okay, and so without further ado, I am going to present our first awardee. Uh, the first awardee is Angelique McKay, and she is a consultancy voucher awardee. She is from the Bahamas, and she's a cultural warrior from the Bahamas. She has been a project manager that has worked on several projects that has taken various aspects of the Bahamian culture across the world. She is the CEO and founder of the award-winning Junkanoo Commandos organization, an organization that travels promoting the number one cultural expression of the people of the Bahamas, Junkanoo. She is also the creator and artistic director of the newest festival in the Bahamas Junkanoo Art and Music Festival that is 2 years old. She holds a master's degree in cultural project development from the University of Turin and has several certifications in various aspects of festival and events management from the International Festival and Events Association. Angelique has a 9-year-old son, Zion, who she says means more than the world to her. She also says that he actually adds a different level of happiness to her life. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now welcome to speak and to share her journey with us all, Angelique McKay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just hearing my son's name makes me smile, but that's not why we're here. I'm here to really talk about this whole process, but happy Catapult Day to everyone. And this, having won this means so much to me, as well as to the members of our organization, to the Junkanoo Commandos and the participants in the Bahamas Junkanoo Art and Music Festival. What we were awarded the opportunity to develop an online store to be able to link to sell some of the Junkanoo products that is the main feature of the Bahamas Junkanoo Art and Music Festival. And Junkanoo is the #1 cultural expression of the people of the Bahamas. And because of COVID-19, we're not going to be able to have Junkanoo this year. We're dying slow deaths, realizing that we won't be able to hit Bay Street to participate in Junkanoo. I do a lot of exporting of Bahamian culture because I realize a lot of persons are not aware of what it is that we have here in the Bahamas relative to our various cultural expressions. So I would travel around the world exporting our culture and enticing persons to come to the shores of the Bahamas to experience our culture in its natural habitat. And that's what I've been doing. And with Junkanoo, we allow persons to get that inside look into the creative arts of Junkanoo, because Junkanoo is something that was brought over with us from the west coast of Africa, and it's been practiced throughout the English-speaking Caribbean, but it has evolved on another level in the Bahamas. The first year of the festival, what we got the grant to be able to create the online store. This was the first opportunity that we've done this in the Bahamas. We created an event to allow persons to be able to purchase our works of art. And at that particular festival, we were able to sell over 60% of the art that was brought in by the individual artists. So the festival was created to empower the Junkanoo artists that participate on Bay Street every year. It also allows us to give other artists opportunities to display. We have bands performing, we had roving artists. We also have artisans that set up, and they too are going to be able to benefit from this Catapult Award by having the works that would have been at the festival to be able to sell those works of art on the site, the store page that we were able to get. And I mean, a huge thank you to Cosmos for all of the work that he did and the hundreds of pictures that I sent that he had to decide which was more striking because of the limited number that we were able to have. I want to just say a little bit about my journey in Junkanoo. I've been dubbed the Junkanoo goddess in the Bahamas. Stanya Davis, one of our top radio personalities in the country, gave me that name, and I just embraced it. She said that that name is so fitting for me because of the number of things that I've done in Junkanoo to help propel our Junkanoo to the world, and not afraid to chart new courses relative to exposing Junkanoo, because I feel like that Junkanoo is the best kept secret on the planet. And we intend to expose this secret one country at a time. I was born in Junkanoo. It's something that's totally ingrained in me. I got this passion from Junkanoo from my father. He was deeply involved in Junkanoo from he was young, and it just automatically passed down to me. One of my biggest inspirations in Junkanoo is just that sense of euphoria, the camaraderie that we get when we're in the various spaces where we create our costumes that are called Junkanoo shacks, where you get to spend hours on end with your colleagues in Junkanoo from your group. So they're like your extended family. And the closer it gets to Christmas and New Year's, the more time you spend with that extended family than you do with your immediate family. So you become totally addicted and involved and embraced and submerged in the creative arts of Junkanoo. Like you're not able to separate yourself from Junkanoo. And we tend to spend hours and hours just trying to get our costumes together because everything is hands-on, handmade. You're intimately involved with the preparation and production of your costume. So it's a labor of love, because we're often told that people can't pay us for the amount of time and money that we invest in our individual costumes to get to Bay Street in order that we bring the greatest show on earth to the people, the spectators in the stand. And we have been collaborating with persons in different countries around the world. We've done collaborations with persons in Nice, France. We've participated in Nice Carnival, which is the third largest carnival in Europe, where we've taken Junkanoo. We've done Junkanoo workshops in London, Scotland, the Isle of Wight in the United Kingdom. We've done artist in residency programs in the United Kingdom, as well as in the Bahamas, where persons flew in to learn the intimate details of Junkanoo, from costume construction to music to dance in Junkanoo, as well as the history and evolution of Junkanoo. So we've been able to do everything that we map out and we intend to do even more. And with the grant that we would have gotten from Catapult, it's just so amazing, and the timing was so right that we were locked down. We're not able to do what we normally do, but we're able to think about what we can put together. And with it being online, we're now able to expose our art to so many more persons. Other than when we travel, they're able to see it. Now we're able to show it to a larger audience thanks to Catapult. You know, I know I was asked one of the proudest achievements for me. There are so many, because I feel like I'm constantly breaking down barriers and doing things that haven't been done. One of the other things I didn't say, I'm sorry, is that women in Junkanoo was not always smiled upon. It was frowned upon, because women in Junkanoo was there was a black mark against it. Women weren't always allowed in Junkanoo, but women have been making a lot of big strides in Junkanoo. So one of the proudest moments, and I have two that kind of run neck and neck. I was the project manager that took the Let Freedom Ring performance. We performed on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial for the 50th anniversary of the Dr. Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech. So we were able to take Junkanoo to the world, and that has been the largest viewership of Junkanoo to date. That persons from all over the world had live streaming of our performance there. And to me, that goes neck and neck with the first time that my son Zion stood next to me and paraded on Bay Street in Junkanoo. So they're neck and neck. I can't say which one outshines the other at this moment. So that's kind of me in a nutshell and what it is that we do. And my main goal and my main focus is to expose as many Bahamian artists globally as I possibly can.
Okay, great. A true ambassador you are indeed. Thank you for sharing that truly amazing story. It was aptly put in the chat that you are the queen of Junkanoo from the Bahamas, and I'm sure you would quite agree with that. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's truly an inspiring one. Just checking to the chat. I'm not seeing any questions here, but just comments around your story and how interesting a story it is. Incredible, as one person put it. And I'm not sure if Catherine, do you have any questions coming from YouTube? Are you there, Catherine?
None just yet. No questions just yet.
Okay.
Well,
great.
I could share a little bit more. You know, I just one of the things that I want to say, we have operates twice a year. It starts at Christmas night, goes into Boxing Day, and then again at New Year's. And I honestly don't feel like we get an opportunity to showcase it as much as we could. So if we have an opportunity where we can expand our Junkanoo Parade and our Junkanoo Festival to possibly 2 weeks, it would allow so many more people to be exposed to the creative arts of Junkanoo. And it would also create additional opportunities for our Junkanoo artists to be able to generate some more revenue out of their works of art. And that's my goal, for them to be able to monetize something that they love so much and something that they're so deeply passionate about and they give so much to.
Okay, great. Well, there's actually a comment here in the chat. Well, one is a question. Do you mentor other women? And we also have a comment here regarding maybe linking up with a band here in Negril, Jamaica, a band that is 75 years old. So maybe a conversation that can happen a little bit later when we get to that segment of the program. Good. Sounds great.
And I do mentor women. There are 6 women in our organization that I'm training in the Junkanoo Commandos. In in exactly what it is that I do with project management. And every project that I deal with or work on, there are at least two of them that shadow me on each one of those projects.
Okay, thanks for that. And another question here is, what is your vision for how Junkanoo can be a cultural bridge among diverse people?
Well, we have a mixture of persons that are involved in Junkanoo right now. We have all socioeconomic statuses in Junkanoo. Everyone is on even keel in Junkanoo. We have doctors, lawyers, teachers, persons who are just, I mean, every profession that you can imagine is involved in Junkanoo. And we all carry the same title when we hit a Junkanoo shack, is that we are Junkanoos. So there are no big titles attached. So that is like a melting pot. Junkanoo is just an even playing field for everyone.
Okay, great. And it's something we do here in Jamaica as well. There, in fact, we have a comment here in the chat asking how different the Junkanoo that is practiced somewhat in Jamaica. How different is that from the one the practice in the Bahamas?
What I have seen from images and from my friends in Jamaica, what I've heard and the images that I've seen is that the way Junkanoo is still practiced in a small scale in Jamaica is the way Junkanoo was for us in the 30s and in the 20s. Junkanoo has evolved in the Bahamas to something that does not even resemble what it was back then. And those are some of the same images that you would see if you were to look at Junkanoo in Ghana with the mask and the scary costumes and stuff like that. And it's totally evolved in the Bahamas from what it was then. So the name and the origins are there, but the evolution in the Bahamas has totally shifted the playing field for Junkanoo.
Yeah, so it has evolved. Okay, great. Thank you so much for sharing that really interesting and informative story. I certainly have learned a few things since you have been sharing. So thank you very much for that. We're going to move on to our second awardee, and Daphne Menard is a stay-home artist residency recipient. He's from Haiti, and he completed his studies in theater in July 2015, practicing contemporary dance, music, theater, and writing. Daphne founded the Soul Scene Association, an initiative interested in transdisciplinary research with the body as the raw material. Daphne created in November 2016, Omera, the Choir of the Abyss, a play that questions the power of this world, rendering so weak in front of certain situations. Since October 2018, Daphne has implemented the Transdo Art Creation Laboratory between Haitian and Dominican artists and organized a cross-disciplinary play in May 2020 in Santo Domingo, questioning the concept of memory on the island. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Daphne Menard.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So I'm very excited about the idea, not about the idea, about the fact to be in this Catapult meetup. So sorry for my English, and I'm gonna try to I'm gonna do my best to express all this emotion that I have inside of me. I feel like a volcano. I don't know the right word. The volcano with a lot of fire inside of me, and so I'm really interested about this kind of I'm really interested about this kind of things around the fact to try to link artists through all the Caribbean. For one, the project I am working on is Transdo. Transdo is a project, but it is also a play. And for like 3 years ago, I've realized that I'm living on the island, and it is, I won't say it is easier, it is easy, but it was easier for me to plan a project in France, in Belgium, or in Canada. And I've realized that I didn't know anything about Dominican Republic that was just beside of me. And it was so, I felt a little bit ashamed of that. And so I started to work on a project called Transdo, and that is firstly a play project about the memory of the island between Haitian and Dominican. So the story between the two countries is really hard. It is a history of blood, of murder, and in Haiti, in Dominican Republic, we don't talk about at school. We don't talk about Dominican Republic. So if you don't have a project to go in Dominican Republic, you will never know anything about Dominican Republic. So basically, it was the project to create a play that would bring together Asian and Dominican artists. So I am a project manager, but also I am a director. So uh, that was the project, and so I started with laboratories, and firstly in PowerPoint we get together in Asian and Dominican artists on the first step of laboratory. So I am not a I am a multidisciplinary artist, so I am really interested in this point between music, theater, and dance. So because I think that the body can be the body is every human being has a door to eternity. So I cannot speak the same tongue than you. You speak English, I speak French or Creole, whatever you want. But I deeply believe that if we go inside, we'll find a language that is common between all human beings. So that was but it was a real challenge. For I didn't know any artists in Dominican Republic. I didn't know any structure in Dominican Republic. And they are just beside. And I remember the first time I go to Dominican Republic to look for it was like I was on another planet, but it was so hard to realize that, hey, but they are just same than us. We have we have so much in common, but they build us with this idea that we are completely different. So I speak French and Creole, so you speak Spanish. We have nothing in common. So I started laboratory in Port-au-Prince with artists, Asian artists and Dominican artists in 2018, October 2018, and this year in March, we've been in Dominican Republic in Santo Domingo, keep on working, and we have created a play, transdisciplinary, a transdisciplinary play with Asian and Dominican, and it was a special, amazing, deep moment for each of us, because we were talking about memory of the island, how we can talk about bad parts of the stories of our stories without without wake up uh, um, uh, sorry without wake up bad feeling like fear, hate uh, hate, without how we can talk, how we can exchange without so sorry it sorry, I can't explain all I have in my mind. So it is the project called Transdo, but it is also a project that that there is a part of the project that has conference between when there is a laboratory with artists working, but we organize also some conferences about memory, and we are very interested about young generation that that increase without knowing each other on the island. So we are, this is my proudest achievement as artist, as director, to have been able to bring together Asian and Dominican artists, and now I can plan another thing in the Dominican Republic. I know which artist. I know which artist I can contact. I know which structure that I can contact. And to go further, I would like to create. And I told myself that there is not also a Haiti and Dominican Republic. There is also all this island. I'm really interested about the speech of Angelique Mackay, for example, and there is there is Las Nietas de Nono in Puerto Rico that I met. So I would like to really create after 2 years maybe a festival that would bring together artists in this Caribbean and the Caribbean. And the idea is also to create a binom duo, two artists, one artist from Haiti, one artist with an artist in Dominican Republic, one a artist from Jamaica with one artist from Puerto Rico, and they meet together during 1 week or 2 week 2 week in laboratory, and they create something. There is the project of creation, but also the main thing, the main thing for me is to create link to break this kind of border that we have in our mind, that we are different. So when you talk to an Asian, he gonna say to you that he is totally different from a Dominican. The same thing for a Dominican. But if we just sit for 1 moment and talk, we'll realize that we have a lot of things in common. For example, the first time I've been in Puerto Rico, I met a song, a child song that we sing in Haiti. Da 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 da, to Pepsi Cola, Cola Cola, Orange, Orange, so the thing is, the last word begins the next sentence, and I'm looking for your face. I have the feeling that you know the structure and your culture. So, but and this is so amazing for me to realize that in Virgin Island they have the same thing, and and Puerto Rico. So and it is so much difficult for me to realize that it is easier for me to go in France than to Puerto Rico, than Martinique, than Bahamas. It is, and I think that artists, and that's why I'm very proud and very emotionally filled, because we are in this meeting, and this meeting for me is very, 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 very important as artist, as project manager, as human, as Caribbean, as black. Like I'm very proud of to this kind of initiative that I know there is an Angelique McKay in Bahamas. There is Las Nietas de Nono in Puerto Rico. If I wanna organize my festival, I want to bring together all this kind of energy to resist, to resist, because this kind of border that we have in our mind, it is colonial heritage. This is Asian, was colonized by French, Dominican by Spanish, so we have the same structure still now. So I, I am Daphne Mena. I am from Haiti. Basically, I am a singer, and I am really interested about the idea of eternity, because I started in church, and for me, the human being has eternity inside of him. Every human, every sound, if we just open the eye sincerely, we'll find this point of this feeling of eternity in every human being, in every movement, in every song. So I made some social communication studies, but I've never had in my mind that I was going to be a professional artist. So, but by chance, by chance, I believe that, and in Christian tradition, and in voodoo in Haiti, there is this belief that the you don't choose the spirit chooses you. So if art is a spirit, so art has chosen me, and this is my motivation. I don't need a reason to do art, because if I'm looking for reason for doing art, I would have a lot of good reason to give up, because of my country. It is so difficult, so I don't have a reason. I really have the feeling that art has chosen me. And my did I answer all the question? I don't know, but my my proudest achievement is I don't know, is I am here with you, sharing this energy that will give me enough good reason to keep on dreaming, to keep on working, to keep on believe that one day it will be easy for me to plan an artistic work in Virgin Island, an artistic work in Martinique. I really keep this energy from all of you, from your smile, from your face. I keep this energy from your speeches, to keep on working. So I don't know if I answer all the questions. So if you have any question, I will share on the YouTube the link of the teaser of the play that I directed in Dominican Republic this year, about the memory of the Persil massacre, the Persil murder in 1937, where thousand and Asian and Dominican have been killed by the dictator, Trujillo, Leona Trujillo. And so I will share it on the YouTube chat. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Daphne.
Thank you.
We could feel the energy and passion coming through our screens here as you shared a while ago. What an amazing initiative, or a couple of initiatives. And there are a couple of persons who are definitely endorsing what you have shared. In fact, Rico said, you know, it would be good if there could be a set of collective goals to share and practice French and Spanish and English so that the artists can really shift the culture in an even more major way, you know. We also have persons asking if this is an open initiative that so other persons can, you know, be a part of it. So these are some of the questions and comments that are actually coming in here. Really, really an amazing share there. And I know you seemed a little concerned when you started with, you know, how you would present and if persons would understand, but you were perfect, clear, clear, clear. And that has been expressed also in the chat. So thank you very much for that. Catherine, anything from you?
No questions, but also people on here are, you know, loving the idea of the project and unifying two nations. C has a comment. She says this type of project would be a breath of fresh air in the Bahamas,
Yes.
where the two cultures, Haitian and Bahamian, live side by side. They seldom mix. So she'd love to see that type of initiative in Bahamas as well.
Yes, yes, yes. Great. Keep up the good work, Daphne, and thank you very much for that very passionate presentation. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next awardee, Imani Edwards, and Imani is the Caribbean Artist Showcase awardee from Jamaica. She started with fashion and styling at a very young age, and then later explored other skills such as creative directing, assisting, as well as photography. Her passion comes from developing her technical skills and using her work to help people discover their unique approach and creative edge. Today, she's a certified photographer and a fashion stylist who explores the queer side of Kingston and expands her network with other queer creatives. She currently uses her work as a protest with the focus of advocacy, which includes models and clients of marginalized and vulnerable groups. The majority are from the trans community. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Imani Edwards as she shares her story and journey.
Hello, everyone. So where do I begin?
Imani.
Hello, where do I begin? First, I want to say that I also work with Transwave Jamaica in media and communication. I am also an ambassador at Connect and also the House of Pentacles. As a Black trans woman living from Jamaica, I mean, it's very difficult here in terms of like even being visible as a Black trans woman. But what I want to talk about is that my work as a creative, I use ideas like fashion, art and style for social change for the trans and LGBT community. And I believe in giving other LGBT creative the opportunity to showcase their artistic visual as creative. And I also want to basically shift the narrative on not really focusing on us being homeless, not being able to have any support. You know, I want to give them the help and support as creative also. But I remember there's a lot of stuff that I've been doing, and for one, I said because I'm trans and I'm from Jamaica that artists here in Jamaica would not want to work with me because I am trans. And I've been getting a lot of support from medias international that are supporting my work and that are giving me the help and support in pushing me going further on in getting my work done and also giving the help and opportunity to others. Where do I really start? Because it's very difficult. First, I want to say that I'm very nervous, as a matter of fact. In 2018, I wasn't living anywhere. And then in 2019, I know I had to move. I remember moving and coming to Kingston and living with a friend in December 2019, and then going into 2018, I was introduced to Transwave Jamaica, which I was a part of their team. I was an ambassador for them, and things started to change. And I remember meeting my sibling, my sister, my trans sister, Kim Savage, which I'm glad that we met when we were down on our face on the ground, not having any support and help for anyone. And I remember just going by Yui, just going by Yui to release my stress, not knowing what to do, not knowing how things or anything would work out. I remember meeting with her, going to all these sessions, and I remember going, and I also have to thank Simone Harris. I remember going to this session that 360 artists had, and I remember through Simone, I remember meeting Ruth and Natalia. Ruth is from Ireland and Natalia is from Brazil. Ruth is a creative director for Outburst Square Art Festival, and Natalia, which is the assistant. And I remember going to the sessions, and I remember meeting them, and then I think it was the June, July, August. I remember, I think it was in August, I was emailed and I was given an opportunity by Ruth and Natalia and also Simone and the British Council for a shoot that I did. It was my first ever big major shoot where I worked with members from the community, and we did a shoot for Elliot magazine, and coincidentally, the cover was given to me, and others were also featured. And then there are so many other accomplishments that I have to be grateful for, as a creative. I mean, I got the chance to, I don't know if I could list everything here, all of my accomplishments, because I'm proud of them. Being a trans ambassador, Transwave, I did a Transform campaign. I showcased my art at Equality exhibition, Connect Ambassador J. I did a campaign for J Flag, the We Change campaign. I received an award from Equality UJA graduation symposium in 2019 for Excellence Award, Outstanding Support. I also received an accomplishment award from 360 Artists for accomplishment in level 1, stilt walking. And there's so much. I also received a certificate. In the year of 2019, when I was going through my struggles, I received the opportunity to go to iCreate Institute, where I study photography, but it's not something that I'm really interested in doing, but it's a part of my art, and it's something that I love. And I was also a creative director for Carib Funk and stylist. I was also part of the Behind Homophobia, centering the LGBT experience in the Caribbean. And I also received a special feature from a stylist overseas, Justin, and a photographer here in Jamaica by the name of Amber. And what is interesting is I remember watching a clip of Andrea on a podcast, and Andrea was talking about creative sustainability and creative entrepreneur. And the truth is, I only went to high school. I didn't further my education because I didn't have it. So a lot of the things that I'm learning, they're self-taught, and I'm very grateful for the help and the support that I'm getting from all these organizations. And I now realize that I am a creative entrepreneur, and this is how I survive. And this is how I know majority of the community, the LGBT community, survive. So there's so much left for me to learn, because I have to learn how to make Andrew talked about it, how to make a business plan, need to find partners that I can trust, building networks and registering my business. I'm learning, I have learned how to do my invoice for myself, and also the most important in building a team. That's what I am basically doing with my partner now. That's Kim Savage. So the page is United Trans Creative, and that me and Kim, we were asked to do a digital pride for Connect, and that's how we came up with creating United Trans Creative for the LGBTQ community, so that because we are breaking barriers, activism.
I think we lost Imani there. Did we? I believe we did. I believe we did, yes. Okay, so what we will do is in the interest of time, we hope she's able to rejoin momentarily and complete the presentation or the sharing of the story. But in the meantime, what we will do is we will move to our next awardee. But what a great story that was presented, and clearly breaking down a lot of barriers, right? That we've seen and we know also well, right? Okay, so let's move on. But before we do, I just want to take a few minutes or a little bit of time here just to say that earlier Andrew would have spoken a lot about the various initiatives in Catapult, and the money came from somewhere, right? Had to come from somewhere. It came from our funding agency, the American Friends of Jamaica. They're headquartered in New York, and they were kind enough to share the funds, much needed funds, that the awardees, various awardees, are benefiting from today. And you can see from the presentations that have been shared, or the stories that have been shared so far, that there are some really interesting projects and initiatives, and it's just really awesome to be able to connect with our creatives in this way, and to assist in any way possible to get these very important projects going. So we are truly thankful to the American Friends of Jamaica. Okay, so what we will do at this point, we're going to move on to our next awardee, and Giselle Singer is up next. Giselle is a Caribbean Creative Online awardee from Trinidad and Tobago. Giselle Singh, aka Giselle Singer, is a singer, songwriter, poet with a voice that echoes the likes of Billie Holiday and Erykah Badu. She embodies the essence of a soulful woman, commanding attention, but manifesting the vulnerability to be raw and authentic. Her genre is considered neo soul, but there are genre-defining elements to her music that makes her sound refreshing and exhilarating. She has a deep consciousness of the impact on this world, and her goal is to shift the paradigm of the universe through music that arises from presence. Giselle has recently released 2 powerful and uplifting soul anthems. Billion Dollar Dream, and Sister Got Soul. Let me ask Giselle to join us now and to share with everyone here in this session her story. Giselle, over to you.
Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Giselle, and I am a neo soul singer from Trinidad in the Caribbean. Well, I think we're all from the Caribbean. I create genre-defying soul music that I describe as being dense, intense, and highly textured, just like my hair. So I started creating music when I was maybe, let's say, around 8 years old. I started off singing calypso. I think calypso is pretty popular in other Caribbean islands as well. And I started off singing calypso as a child. I also sang in the church choir. And I really started taking music seriously when I heard my brother making beats in his bedroom. So he started off creating beats. And when I would hear the beats, I started to realize I can write music, I can write lyrics to the beats. And that's how I got more serious into music. So I started off working with some producers in the US, and that's how I released Billion Dollar Dream last year. And I think it's my first really good song because I got the most views. I think the ones before weren't that good, but I think people were probably supporting me because of my look. I don't know. but I think I really started creating good music this year with Billion Dollar Dream and Sister Got Soul because people actually started to buy my music. So I think that was a major transformational part of my journey. Why do I do music? That's always a challenging question because I don't think there's any real reason for doing music. You know, music is something that sort of comes to you, and I guess you choose if you want to make it your career or hobby. But I choose music as my career, so I do it full time. And I am deeply, madly, passionately in love with music. I can't live without music. I could get married to music. I could sleep with music. And music is a really, really important part of my life and a part of my identity because music helped me to discover my identity. I started off studying psychology and I was doing psychology at college. And as I was doing psychology, I realized that I definitely didn't want to be a psychologist. So I decided to pursue music full time. So I guess that psychology degree really helped me. So I dropped out. And along the way, it's really helped me to discover my identity and take a lot of chances. It also helps me to cope because I have like severe mood swings, emotional challenges. So music is my way of saying how I feel without having to face the law, I guess. So I can be very honest, very raw, very authentic, and I don't have to be politically correct. So that's the freedom that music allows me to say whatever I want and be totally honest. And I also only this year I think I started to think about music as a tool to empower persons because I think it was a bit selfish for me before where it was all about me and what I wanted to say. But then I realized that I needed to make an impact on our world and create music, be purposeful with my music so that I can make a change in society. A really important thing to me is women because in my country, Trinidad and Tobago, there's a lot of domestic violence. And there's a lot of violence against women, especially during COVID. We've seen a huge spike in violence against women. As a matter of fact, there was a young girl today, Ashanti Riley. She was buried today and she died by really gruesome circumstances. So every day, that's something I think about. How can I use music as a tool to empower women? How can I use my image and my voice to speak out for women? What inspires me, I think one of my greatest sources of inspiration is definitely, hi, it's definitely, my greatest source of inspiration is definitely poetry. I used to rely heavily on my imagination to write, but then I realized that I didn't want my music to come at the cost of my mental breakdowns. because what I would do is probably rely on being depressed or that sort of thing to really be able to write. But I realized that I can live a free, happy life and be inspired by other people's tragic lives. So I decided to take my inspiration from poetry, and I absolutely adore poetry. And I also love looking at movies, especially romance movies. Um, I love looking at Hallmark these days because I guess the story is very predictable. There's always a happy beginning, a breakup, and then a happy ending. And I like that predictability, and it helps me with my music because I think we all go through that in our lives, you know, up, down, up, down. That's life on a whole. So I really, really draw inspiration from that as well as nature. I live in a small coastal village in Trinidad, in the south of Trinidad. So I live close to the sea, and I hear the ocean waves every day. And I also have a lot of birds around where I live. I see a lot of trees. So I'm a country girl or a bush girl, or as some people will say. I love sucking sugar cane and that sort of thing, eating green fig and stewed fish. I grew up with my grandparents, so I'm a real country girl at heart. Right, so I draw a lot of inspiration from nature. My journey so far, I think I already mentioned I started off singing as a child. And then as I got older, one of the major parts of my music career is actually the music TT program in my country, the Spotlight program, Artist Portfolio Development program. And that program really gave me the skills and tools I needed to become an independent artist, to know about the music business, and to be able to manage my career as an independent artist. I also received vocal training from Glenda Collins, and she really helped me to find my true voice and to sing freely because I had a lot of difficulty accepting my voice. Because, you know, I guess in the Caribbean, a lot of people look up to like Whitney Houston and these sort of people, and that was definitely something I couldn't do. So once I couldn't sing Whitney, I was like, okay, I'm definitely not a singer. But Glenda gave me some hope. She introduced me to Billie Holiday, Nina Simone, and I realized that you can just use your real tone, your natural tone, and just be bold and authentic with who you are. And it really doesn't matter, really. And my proudest achievement would definitely be this 40-minute video that I was able to do with Catapult, because if it wasn't for this grant, I would have never done something like this. I was super afraid to go in front of the camera and talk for any long period of time. I didn't know if I had anything important to say. I didn't even know if I had enough songs. I had to go and find songs that I had taken off of YouTube to fill up the 40 minutes. So I was like, okay, this program is really, really pushing me to grow as an artist. It's the first time that I actually performed in any video form of my own, where I actually went and did it out of my own free will. So I think it was a really, really huge thing for me. And seeing myself on camera for 40 minutes, I must say that was a big eye opener for me, to see my facial expressions and see how I talk. I was like, oh God, there's some things I realize I need to work on, but definitely I'm so happy with this achievement because it helped me to be comfortable talking to my fans on social media. I have a lot of fans in my country and different parts of the world, and I had never been comfortable enough to go in front of the camera and say anything really to them. I'd always just post text and that sort of thing. But having to do this, it really, really gave me that courage to be vulnerable, to go in front of the camera, just say, I am Giselle Singer. I'm a neo soul singer from Trinidad in the Caribbean, and I create genre defying soul music that is dense, intense, and highly textured, just like my hair. That gave me so much strength. Um, that's really, really important to me. And I'm so grateful for this program for that, because it really, really helped me to get in touch with who I am as an artist, what I really want to say, my message. So I'm so grateful. In terms of collaborative opportunities, I would love to work with any creative from any part of the Caribbean who has a story, who wants to say something through their work, because you can be involved in dance, in film, in anything really, because I mean, you never know what we can do if we work together. You know, I've been working with people from all over the world and it's incredible. Sometimes you just reach out to someone over Instagram, and actually the producer I'm working with right now, I just messaged him on Instagram and he said he's willing to work with me, and that's how I've been creating my music. So I'm willing to just work with any creative from any part of the world. It doesn't matter, you know? So let's come together and see what we can do. I can be reached. My name is Giselle Singer, so it's spelled JISELLESINGER. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You come over on YouTube. Come over on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I have to make sure and do this free promotion. I don't get it often, so excuse me, but subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow, and make sure you listen to Billion Dollar Dream and Sister Got Soul. It's gonna change your life and you're gonna fall in love with genre-defying soul music. And you can reach me at GiselleSinger@gmail.com. It's the same spelling, JISELLESINGER@gmail.com. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I look forward to connecting with as many of you as possible outside of this platform. Thank you so much.
Giselle, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your story. And a really amazing one it is. It is clear that there's been a lot of growth and development, especially in recent times. And that's always a very good thing. I mean, we never ever stop learning. And so we want to challenge ourselves all the time to do, to learn and to further develop. Sonia here says that it's just really a powerful proposition for your music, helping to bring attention to domestic violence, which is a very, very big thing, not just in the region, but in our world today. And so, of course, it's really great that you're able to showcase or to bring to the fore through your artistic skill, this kind of thing. You know, I'm just going through some of the comments that I'm seeing here. They're loving your hair, and your voice, of course, and just how authentic you sound. So thank you very much for that. Just continuing through here, scrolling through. Love your initiative, so that's good, that's great. And of course, you know, at the end we will of course hang around so that persons who may have questions and further comments, that they can actually share these with you. They can share them with you, and you can further share. Someone here says very inspiring, so they're quite happy for your story. Okay, so thank you again, Giselle. Really powerful, really amazing, and really soulful as well. So thank you very much for that. I understand that Imani is back in the room, and we want to give her an opportunity to finish or to continue to share her story. And so we're going to ask Imani to join us again and to continue sharing.
Hello.
Imani, are you there?
Are
Okay,
you
great.
everyone? Great. Thank you. First I want to apologize about that. My internet connection is really not good. It's really terrible. I'm actually in the dark right now. So I was actually talking about my accomplishments in 2019 and also my accomplishments in 2020, which I'm very grateful for. So I did my Black Queerness project. That's in June 2020 that I did with Jordan Anderson. He's a Jamaican now living in Milan, Italy, and he works in the fashion industry. and also works very closely with the LGBTQ community. I was also featured in a Smash a Look with Clifford Jog Challenge, and that was for ID Magazine in July 2018. I was also featured in a favorite video, my guide to self-isolation, and that's during the time of the pandemic that we're in with ID Magazine. And I talked about how United Trans Creative was formed by doing the digital pride for Connect JA. And I did for the organization that I worked with, Transwave Jamaica, I was an editor for the newsletter, and I also received from Equality JA to showcase my artistic visual in terms of visual photos, which I did a project. It was called Our Presence is Our Resilience. It's actually in Belfast in Smithfield. That's in a car park right now. It will be there for, I think, until January. I must thank Ruth and the British Council, all the British Council around the world for the support, the help. I also want to thank Kingston Creative. I want to thank Fresh Milk, AFJ, and I also want to thank Catapult. I am so very grateful and honored for the love and for the support that I have been receiving as a Black trans woman from a country that seems to not want to recognize us, and they're supposed to see us as human first. I also want to talk about for Transwave, I also did a photo shoot for Trans Awareness Month. And I also did an interview, which is now on my website. That's imaniimani.com. And it's also on my Instagram. That's Imani the Genderless Stylist and United Trans Creative. And on Twitter, it is Imani El Rio. And also on Facebook, Imani the Genderless Stylist. There's a feature of me, a story, an interview where I talk about what life is like as a trans activist living in Jamaica. And I was also giving a feature in Third Magazine about the same project, Our Presence is Our Resilience. And I have here with me my sister, Kim Savage. She's the co-founder of United Trans Creative. But I also want to talk before I go, because I do not have much time. I will be working because there is Danielle Harton is the founder of Commonwealth Fashion Council, which he have reached out to me, and people have been reaching out to me wanting to collaborate, wanting to work. They're very interested in wanting to find out more about the work that I'm doing here in Jamaica. So, I mean, there is a lot of stuff happening in terms of collaborating. I want to collaborate with different artists. I want to collaborate with artists here in Jamaica. I know all the dance. I was going to say, like, I know there are artists here that I would really want to work with and style with, but again, it comes around back me being trans and from the community. I know how that is, but I'm open to work with any creative all around the world. I want to go to Brazil to do a special project. And I mean, the sky's the limit. And I mean, I just want to say I'm just thankful and just grateful for all the support that I'm getting from Kingston Creative and Catapult, as I mentioned before, and my organization, Transwave J-Flag, each and every one. And I'm here to I just want to build and empower, as I said before. I mean, my visibility is important and trans visibility is important, and it is not a trend, it is a social movement. And I believe in what I'm doing and I love what I'm doing. And I mean, my work is open for critique, because without critique, that means the work is not being done or nothing is not get done. So I just want to say that I'm just grateful. I feel the growth, you know, I know that I'm blessed. I know that I'm powerful. I talk to the universe. I do everything that I think I'm supposed to do, right? So I just want to say thanks to, again, Catapult, Kingston Creative, Fresh Mill. Am I forgetting anyone? I don't want to forget anyone. AFJ, I'm very grateful and I love and thankful for the opportunity. I'm open to work with all creatives around the world. Yes.
Okay, Manny. So we are really happy.
And I'm going to post, I'm sorry to disturb. I'm just going to post my question and I have to go shortly because I just have to go.
Yes, we know you have to go. We want to thank you very much for coming back. I just want to say that some of the comments in the chat speaks to just how powerful the images, some of the images are in bringing some of the images that have been shared have been. And so we are really thankful for the barriers that you are breaking down in that space. We clearly, your accomplishments have been great as well. You have really done a lot of work in the trans space. So kudos to you, and I'm sure that you will continue to make a positive impact and strides in that space. I don't know if anybody wants to ask Imani any questions before she goes. It's a lot of comments here, but not okay. So just comments. They're just really happy to hear from you. Happy to hear all the things that you have been doing and the great work that you have done, and will continue to do. I am sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining. Have a good afternoon, Imani. We know you have to go. All right, great. So thanks a lot for that. Truly was very inspiring, and we're very happy to have been able to hear the rest of Imani's story. Okay, so at this point we are going to move on to our next awardee, and that awardee is Rochelle Ward. And Rochelle Ward is a lockdown virtual salon awardee from St. Martin, who is a poet and a teacher. She started writing poetry while attending the St. Martin Academy, the school where she now teaches English and literature. The recipient of the 2004 Hilary Becker Poetry Award, she holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in English and Communication from Pace University and completed MFA level creative writing courses at the University of the West Indies in Trinidad. Ward has cited her poetry at slams and literary festivals in Anguilla, Dominica, St. Martin, and Nevis. Her poetry appears in the anthology Where I See the Sun, Contemporary Poet in St. Martin 2013, and was published by the House of Yeshai Publishers. We want to welcome you, Rochelle, and we are delighted to have you, and we can't wait to hear the story that you will share with us this afternoon.
All right, so good afternoon, good evening, some of you good morning, wherever you are in the world. Just let me know you can hear me loud and clear. You can hear me loud and clear, right? All right, awesome. So my name is Rochelle. I am from the island of St. Martin, as you recently heard, and my genre is poetry. Now, I'm a little different in the sense that I would call myself somewhat like a newbie, because recently I just completed my first collection of poetry. And the interesting thing is, for me, I find is that I was not one of those persons who were, outward there, very expressive in public concerning my poetry. I was very private about it. And I started off by writing in journals. And I find that opportunities like this, being able to be in a community of artists, and having initiatives like this help people like me to come out and do what we were called to do. And I think that for me, my journey has been that I landed in the lap of very good mentorship, right? So I had people around me who were creating and people around me who knew that there was something in me that needed to be called out. So I'm so grateful for this initiative and that it can go towards the book that I'm working on, as well as being a part of a community of very awesome individuals. And I'm very happy about that. So my journey started in high school. I wrote a lot, I journaled a lot. And because of the mentorship I had, I was able to, start sharing my work at book fairs and workshops around the island and the neighboring Caribbean islands. So for me, the most significant steps were that I was able to be open. Not many of us are open to criticism, not open to growth. I remember being in a mini workshop with another poet on the island, and I was writing all and everything, and he's like, no, 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 no. Make sure you narrow it down and find your find what you want to say and stop saying everything about everybody. So I was grateful for that, because now I realize that some of the themes that I love to write about is tragedy. And for me, when I see tragedy, I would like to go through it, sift through the debris and find anything that is beautiful and try to capture that, so that people would not only focus on the pain of tragedy, but also to see something is being birthed, right? So that's one of the things I like to write about. I was in New York finishing my degree when there was the 9/11, the 9/11 attack. So for me, I experienced it from a distance, but it took me like 10 years to actually go down to the memorial. And when I did, I paused and I looked for, the beauty in it. And I wrote a series on that. Many of us are from the Caribbean. We do experience tragedy almost every single year in the form of natural disasters, right? And ever so recently, now we're having a lot more earthquakes. So for me, again, it's a matter of paying attention to the destruction and finding beauty, finding creation that is being that is taking place, if you want to call it that. So for me, my work has a lot to do with tragedy. My work has to do with natural disasters. I even do experiences as a woman, as a Caribbean woman, and what that means. And for me, even though I've been on Earth for like a couple of decades, my experience as a woman, starts off back in front of the library and the museum and whatnot, and just pausing and just listening to my voice fill the square as I was reciting a poem. So as a Caribbean woman, that whole concept of once upon a time, a woman like me was on a block, but she had nothing that she could have said, right? So for me, it was one of my greatest achievements. And because of that, I was able to now connect with other artists. Two collaborations that I did and I want to share with you is one of my students, she did the first CXC dance um, exam in our school. So what happened was I was supposed to present during a book fair, and I did a piece on a woman who was drowning. And I was thinking about it, and I said, you know what, it'd be interesting not just to speak, but to give another artist an opportunity to express these words that I'm about to share with the audience. And I thought that was amazing. I thought that was something that we should all consider doing, giving other people a moment to wrap their creativity into our own and present it. And the impact was super beautiful, because not only were people pulled into their own thoughts, they had to leave their thoughts now and look and see how this movement is taking place in the space around them. So I thought that was amazing. And the second one was very quick and very short. We had a protest on the island, and there was a photographer. She took a picture, and I wasn't there. So for me, I was like, you know what, I need to make my little contribution. So I was looking at her picture, and I pulled a short poem from it, and I wrote it down. And for me, again, I'm still now becoming more and more aware of what my duty is as a poet on the island of St. Martin. And I realized that your words as a poet, your work as an artist, it's being looked at, it's being expected. People are looking, people are waiting. So when I wrote it, there was no likes, there was no shares. But the moment I sat down and did the interview with one SXM, they said, listen, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. You remember you wrote this on this day? I'm like, you're watching, you know? So I want you guys to keep that in mind, that no matter what comes out of you, people are expecting that art. They're expecting you to say and make an impact, even though you might be thinking, okay, I did that, nothing happened, right? So those are the two collaborations that I did, and I'm grateful again for the opportunity, and I'm thankful to Catapult and Fresh Milk and all the organizations that partner to, you know, be the on the hand and foundation of bringing back up and supporting the artists around the Caribbean. So I wanted to say thank you, and I want to big up all the awardees from just a moment ago. You guys did an amazing job, and I am so like inspired by your art form, your way of being in the world, as well as those persons who didn't get an opportunity to speak. I know that you do also an incredible work. So again, thank you, and thank all of you for this opportunity. And you know, if you have an idea, be really raw, be really bold about it, and bring it forth.
Oh, Rochelle, thank you so much for sharing that story. Your internet was kind of going in and out a little bit there, but we sure did get the essence of your share. Truly very inspiring. We have a few comments here. Suzanne says the comment that I appreciate most from Rochelle was the question about if there were things she didn't or wouldn't write about. Her answer was that if it came to her, she was supposed to write about it. That was very clear. That's a clear indication of a sensitivity to the spirit instead of being intimidated by negative impacts of the culture. So kudos to you on that. Just moving through. Catherine, you have anything to share there?
No comments on this side right now, but as they come in, I'll let you know.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm continuing to go through here. We do have a few more comments. We have a comment here says, inspired by just your presence. I feel you. I thank you for being Rochelle. Question is, how do you cope as a writer with a distant perspective, the emotions and opportunity and options? Let me read that again. I think my fingers were moving a little bit too fast, so I might have jumped ahead there. Let me see if I can go back to that question. Right. So question is, how do you cope as a writer with a distant perspective, the emotions and options of others that receive your work?
I think for the most part, I stay open. I stay open because I put my work out there, and people who read it, they're bringing their experience to it, you know? So if it's a negative comment, I try and see again, why are they reacting negatively? If it's positive, that's great. But I do stay open, because at the end of the day, whenever somebody reads, they're collaborating with your work, and they're bringing a whole history, a whole culture, and everything else with them. So I stay a little, you know, removed, if you want to call it that, because everybody has a right to their opinion, and I respect their emotions as well. So I'm not going to tell anybody how to feel or what to say about what I produce.
Right. And it is clear from the comments here, Rochelle, that persons are truly inspired by your share just now. So clearly you are doing something, using your talent in a very positive way, and of course you should continue to do that. We have a question here. How do you deal with naysayers that you might come across? I would also love to do an interview with you on your author's cover IG live. Okay, so I think what we will probably pick up that or continue that into our free form networking a little bit later. But I don't know if you want to speak very briefly about how you deal with naysayers, Rochelle.
Also here, Jackie, some persons on YouTube want to hear some of the poetry.
Ah, okay, there you go. There you go.
Oh
Wow,
my God. Real quick.
this is exciting.
The naysayers, I think it goes back to what I just said earlier. I look for what is there for me to improve on, right? Because emotions is a very delicate thing, it's very delicate. I can react just as negative or harshly, but what's the point at the end of the day, right? So for me, it's just okay, again, can this improve my work in any way? Yes, no, right? And go from there. Somebody asked if I write scripts. I can write scripts. I do write fiction as well. It's just words. I love words. I love words
Great,
a lot.
great
So
stuff.
let's do
Yeah.
a quick poem.
Yes.
Hmm. This poem is entitled The Rain Spoke to Me. Nature is one of those things that I like to dabble in. The rain spoke to me. It began in a drizzle, whispering past stories. From the hills, this story came, running beneath the shadows of trees, flopping, splashing, beating on the muddy patches of soil and green, pounding, knocking, beating, 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 pulsing. The rain spoke to me. In the darkness outside, their 26 voices were muffled beneath the thumping of freed hearts and the burn of overworked lungs. Each slave ran north from Diamond Estate in Cold Bay, chased by dogs, bullets, and possibly rain. Pounding, kicking, knocking, beating, beating, drumming, speaking. The tap tap of barefoot men erupted on the zinc rooftop. A scampering shush and a shh, shh of whispers sprinkled the windows. The next morning, those tears on the banana leaves slid down the cheeks of those left behind and into a salt basin. Before sunrise, his knees crashed into free soil. Her left foot had get caught in a barbed wire, so a drizzle of blood plopped, 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 and she crossed the border. They ran away from the chains. This story fills my ears, and then it stopped.
Wow, what a beautiful piece. I wasn't expecting that at all. Beautiful, really, really beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing, Rochelle. Really great. Yes, and the comments are coming, and I can tell you, they're all just very thankful for your sharing that piece. I wanted to drop your Insta and handle and in the chat, and we're going to ask all the awardees to do that in a bit as well. Okay,
Just one more
so
question.
sure.
So on YouTube, and someone asked, how do you manage your emotional state if you focus on tragedy? Doesn't it wear on your spirit?
Good question. You're muted, Rochelle.
It doesn't wear my, it doesn't. I've realized that my tolerance is very high. I have a very high tolerance, number one. And number two, forgot number two, but my tolerance is very high. Oh, I journal. So if there is any kind of crying or anything that needs to be dealt with, I will deal with that personally by journaling and putting it out there. Even if sometimes the words are not formed on paper, I sometimes have lines because I'm writing so fast, right? But I do deal with journaling, get that thing processed, and then I go back in and I say, okay, what's going on here?
Okay, great. Any other questions, Catherine, from YouTube?
No, no questions right now. Just comments about, how great a spoken word artist you are.
Great. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. What an amazing afternoon of sharing rich, wonderful information. And of course, we've heard about some amazing initiatives from our artists across the Caribbean. It is clear, very, very evident from the many shares that we've had this afternoon from our awardees that they are breaking down barriers and they are breaking the glass ceilings and continue to do a lot of work in their space. To be a creative is a big thing, it's an important thing, and you're able to use your skills to create a platform and an audience, have an audience that and manage and get through initiatives that are very, very important. So we are truly very thankful for all the information and everything that has been shared this afternoon. And it is very, very evident that the awardees will utilize the grants that they have received from the Catapult initiative to further enhance the work that they are doing. So we thank you. We thank you very much for sharing, and we absolutely enjoyed every story, every journey that was shared here this afternoon. At this point, I want to hand over to Annalise Davis. But before I do, I just want to remind persons that Annalise is actually going to be sharing the closing remarks and saying thank you. But we do have a little networking event that happens after she speaks. And so we ask that you stay with us, go nowhere, because this is a great and amazing opportunity for us to share among ourselves and to make necessary contacts and to continue to just share information before we end the event. So at this point, I'd like to introduce you to Annalie Davis. And Annalie Davis is a visual artist. She is a cultural instigator and a writer based in Barbados. Recent exhibitions include her solo piece, Rewilding, at the Harlem Art Space Gallery in England, and Florilegion, a gathering of flowers at the Royal Botanic Garden in Edinburgh, Scotland. In 2011, Annalie formed Fresh Milk. And of course, we know that Fresh Milk is one of the partners in the Catapult initiative. And this Fresh Milk is an art platform and micro-residency program. In 2012, she co-founded the regional residency Caribbean Linked, and in 2015, co-founded Tilting Axle, an independent visual art platform supporting annual encounters. From 2016 to 2018, she was Caribbean Arts Manager with the British Council. Clearly a lady that wears a lot of hats and is definitely making amazing strides in the creative space. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with absolute great pleasure that I introduce Annalie Davis.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for your kind introduction, Jacqueline. It's such a pleasure to be here with all of you. My role, of course, is to give the closing remarks and a vote of thanks. There are a lot of people to thank. Firstly, I would like to thank Andrea Dempster-Chung of Kingston Creative for extending the invitation to Fresh Milk to collaborate on this incredible program and to be able to work for and with hundreds of artists across this beautiful region. Often in projects like this, we don't see the labor that happens in the background. So I'd like to thank each of the members of the Kingston Creative team for their labor and for being so committed to making Catapult a successful program. This includes Raheem Campbell, Shauna K. Campbell, Khadija Chang, Narada Fearon, Rosemary Henry, Karen Hutchinson, Catherine Johnson, and the Kingston Creative Events Pod, Jacqueline, of course, and Jan Thomas, who all work under the very able management of Andrea. As well as you know, the American Friends of Jamaica has been a vital part of Catapult in making the financial wheels turn. Moving money across the Caribbean is no easy thing, and they have made this possible. So we'd like to thank Karan Chung and Wendy Hart for their willingness to move outside their comfort zone and to work across the region. It's a challenging job, and we very much appreciate their willingness to do that, and they have been very efficient in their work. We also had a steering committee, and we'd like to thank the steering committee for their guidance and their vision over the past number of months, including Holly Bino, and again, Karan Chung and Wendy Hart of AFJ, along with Sarah Shabaka and Joan Webley, all of whom worked very efficiently and seamlessly alongside the Kingston Creative and Fresh Milk teams. Enormous gratitude, of course, to the Open Society Foundation for their commitment to the Caribbean through their very generous support of the Catapult program. In particular, I'd like to thank Oro Fraser for championing this region. This support is no small thing, especially in this time of extreme vulnerability for cultural workers all across the archipelago. Several of the Catapult programs included juries who had the difficult task of reviewing hundreds of submissions and selecting the grantees. So I'd like to thank all members of the juries for their work and their attention to the submissions. You know, I just remember reading through some of them, and it was very clear that cultural workers have been really impacted by the COVID pandemic. And it was quite a challenge to actually read that and to see how honest people were in their submissions. And yeah, that was a difficult thing in some ways, to have to repeatedly understand how people were being affected. And so thank you so much to the members of the jury for moving through all of that. Thank you to everyone who facilitated the training courses. They were offered in several languages so that we could have a wider reach. I know this has been valuable to hundreds of artists who could freely access this wide cross-section of course materials. So thank you so much to the facilitators. The LVS, the lockdown virtual salons, included co-discussants. Their job was to lead the conversations with the wide cross-section of artists. So we'd like to thank the co-discussants and the tech team called I Love This Rock for their technical support, which saw the very smooth running of those sessions. The Stay Home Artist Residency Program included guest critics who gave feedback to resident artists through virtual one-on-one studio visits, which I know the artists have really appreciated and benefited from. So thank you so much to the guest critics. Of course, thank you very much for the courage displayed by this evening's speakers: Angelique McKay, Daphne Maynard, Imani Edwards, Giselle Singer, and Rochelle Ward, for sharing your words with all of this evening and for giving us insight into the value that you have expressed in participating in these programs. Thank you so much to Jacqueline for hosting this evening's session, who also coordinated the DCT training courses. Thank you very much for that. And you know, most of all, we are very grateful to all of the incredibly talented artists who participated in the Catapult program. This is why we're here, to serve the artists in the Caribbean in meaningful ways during the pandemic. It is your work that makes our lives richer. It is what you do that makes us recognize ourselves in one another. It is your work that forces us to challenge the stereotypes about the Caribbean that we are confronted with. And it is what you do that allows us to understand the nuances and the intricacies of who we are. So really, it's to thank all of you for being brave and courageous, for applying, for participating, for giving of yourselves so honestly, so beautifully over the last number of months. For me personally, it's always a pleasure to work with artists across this region. I'm so grateful for the opportunity of Catapult providing us to be able to work with all of you, to remind us that our artists are special people and that the labor of cultural workers matters. It is your work that feeds us and that has allowed us to get through this extremely difficult year. So we are so grateful to all of you. And before I hand back over to Jacqueline, I just want to wish all of you a fun and interesting rest of the evening, speaking with one another, meeting with one another all across the archipelago. I wish you all a wonderful holiday season and a very fruitful and healthy 2021. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Great. Thank you, Annalie, for that really, really great, those closing remarks and thank yous. At this point, we want to allow persons to be able to share. And so we're going to open the floor at this point. We know that, well, one of the things we'd love for the awardees to do is to drop their info in the chat so persons can in fact see that now. And of course, if there are any questions, any thought-provoking thoughts or questions that you might have had from the any of the presentations, any question that you may have regarding Catapult and the initiative that was taken, was shared or brought to the creatives across the region, we welcome you now to make those comments or to ask those questions.
Just to add, if anyone wants to share, wants to ask a question, you can use the raise your hand feature in the chat and tech support will unmute you, or you can identify in the chat that you'd like to speak and you'll be unmuted.
Great, thank you very much for that, Catherine. So I see those social media handles going in on the chat. So great. Now's your time to share.
I see Caribbean Creatives raise their hand.
Great. Yes.
Good night, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Sarah Ann Daly. I'm the creator behind Caribbean Creatives, a podcast designed specifically for us, by us. And I'd first like to state that I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to talk to my counterparts from all over the Caribbean. So I guess I should say hello, hola, bonjour, and hello to all the creatives all over the Caribbean and beyond. And thank you to the AFJ for sponsoring my podcast, as well as Kingston Creative and Fresh Milk. And the first thing I'd like to say is Caribbean Creatives is an initiative that really was born out of just me living my truth. So being a Caribbean creative is not something I had to force. My grandma, she's Cuban, and I would have family members from all over the region. So being a Caribbean creative is who I am, essentially. And I started the podcast in April 2020, and this idea was actually born 4 years ago. It took me about 4 years to, conceptualize and think about timing, and as timing would have it, 2020 was the opportunity. I actually spent some time in Panama. I don't know if there are bilingual persons here, but if you know anything about Panama, you know that they have a very big Jamaican culture. So spending time over there and recognizing how much Caribbean culture influences so many different parts of the world has really resonated with me. And that's actually when I decided to actively work on this idea of what it means to be a Caribbean creative, looking beyond the cultural barriers that have been set for Caribbean people over the years, irrespective of culture, irrespective of language, irrespective of everything. So that's really where the idea came from. And since I'm here, I'd encourage persons to please obviously follow our social media. We're on YouTube, we're on all the streaming platforms, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. And if you'd like to be on the podcast, you can just send us a message on Instagram or on Facebook and just say hola. You can, send us a message, give us a bit of background about yourself. And of course, we'll consider you to be on the podcast. And just in wrapping up, I'd just like to say the slogan, which is of Caribbean Creators, is not about the land that divides us, but it's about the stories that connect us. So thanks everyone. And I hope to potentially see everyone in the future. And para la gente que no hablan inglés, I'm also looking up for you guys. Dutch and French, I'm actively learning those languages. So don't feel forgotten. You guys are also represented in this space as well. So just mándanos un mensaje, send us a message, and we'll get to you. Gracias.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for sharing. And we also have another hand raised here. Daphne.
So I just wanna say I saw some comments on the YouTube chat, and so if you go on Facebook and my Instagram, you'll mostly find information about my music career. So, but now I've realized that I didn't communicate enough about the Transdo project. So I just created a group on Facebook here. There I'm gonna share all information about this project, the perspective, and everyone interested in this idea to create link to connect artists through the Caribbean will be able to go on this group to share ideas, to share their contact, and I'm interested in everything. So there is not a lot of information on this group I just created, but this week I will feed it with all the information about this project. I'm once again and
Okay, Daphne, I think your internet there might be creating a bit of challenge. Can you hear me, Daphne?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. Okay,
You hear me?
great. Yes, we're hearing you.
So you lost a lot of my words?
No, we got most of it. We got what you were sharing. It chipped out there in the bit in the end. Okay, thank you very much for sharing there. We have another, Angelique.
And Tahilia as well.
And right.
I just wanted to say that with our festival, Bahamas Junkanoo Art and Festival, of course, we're not going to be able to do it in 2021 in the regular artists of all kind to be able to participate in our festival. So persons can reach out to me and we can see how we could create those type partnerships moving forward, because it is a world festival and it's not just to focus on Bahamian artists. We want to expose global artists as well at the venue. So we'll have a section where poetry is read and smooth jazz music is played. Another stage where Rake and Scrape our Bahamian music, another contemporary artists have played. So there are different places around the festival ground where different artists are able to be expressive. So I would like for persons to be able to reach out to us, the Junkanoo Commandos, or Bahamas Junkanoo Art and Music Festival, or myself, Angelique Bahamian Culture, Facebook or Instagram, so that we could begin to work out some of the kinks to make that possible.
Okay, great. Thank you. Uh,
Blessings, love. Thank you guys so much for just your energy, your space, your creative processes that have been shared. I will briefly pack all my gratitude in this short speech that I have here, but I am just here to channel from my team, the person that helped to, make this grant possible, Catapult, American Friends, Fresh Milk, Kingston Creative, and everyone that, was on the back end to make sure that we all, move the money across the Caribbean, but also that creative energy. I am Tahileta J, and I was able to bless so many in helping them to find the importance in journaling. I'm a writer at heart. I love poetry. Big up Rochelle. I love poetry, and I realize that many people don't journal their feelings. They don't take the time to sit down and analyze what they've been through. So my team and I took on the responsibility to share scripting techniques, gratitude journaling, reflection through practical solutions and timely, live events, series of live events to journal with persons, script with me. So I will, promote in the chat my concurrent, that is my creative community, where we allow creatives to express the highest expression of themselves through practical solutions to impact others, creating a whole brain effect. Excuse the background noise. A whole brain effect of love, catapulting them, just like how this grant has catapulted so many. So thank you all for just being. I'm Tahila Siji again. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing. And of course, we see all those social media handle going into the chat. We're gonna ask Von Lee to share at this time.
Hi, good night. Good night, everyone. Greetings.
Hello.
Hi, I just want to say big up to everybody who was involved, all the awardees, Catapult grants. Thank you guys. The process, everything was very, very amazing. Who would have thought we would have been here at this point right now after a very unprecedented year? But look, we are here. We made it. As artists, we've been able to express ourselves through your program. So I just want to, say thank you for that. Me and my team, we were able to create a film within a day just because of this grant. So it was crazy, a showcase film, sorry. And, it was amazing. Big shout out to everyone who worked on the project, higher echelons, Hollabat, big up yourself, Jean Beyond, Master Ping, big up, one love. Big up to Green Works Cosplay. You guys are amazing. Carissa and Crystal, thank you again. And just want to say thank you and big ups to everybody. You could check out the stuff that we've done and everything on YouTube. I think I put it there in the link, but truly it was a very, very interesting experience. And yeah, we just give thanks and praises and love always.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Akeem, you're up next.
Hi everyone. So my name is Akim Chana Prescott. I go by the name of Stone of Cupid on all social media. I'm a spoken artist and a poet and a photographer. I learned photography during the pandemic while we were in lockdown. So I figured I would put the time to good use. So massive thank you to all the sponsors, Fresh Milk, AFJ, Kingston Creative. I was looking to do a poetry EP and I wanted some musical arrangement like produced and created for it. And this grant can probably help me do that. So a massive thank you to everyone. If there are poets inside of the chat, I'm open to collaborations because the project is not finished. So you can find me Stone with Cupid on Instagram or Facebook. Or you can just message in chat and tell me to add you, whatever, and I would, yeah, add you on and maybe get some work. I'm very excited to see what happens after this. Thank you and blessings, everyone.
Great, thank you. And we will take our final share from Marvin.
Hello.
Hi, Marvin.
Hi. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been like amazing. And Rochelle, that was yay. I really, really loved it. Um, Not that I'm trying to dismiss anybody else, but I mean that one really, really hit me like a truck. Um, we began as an online virtual reading of a script I had written a long time ago, because of the whole situation with actors and artists. Now, in Trinidad, we couldn't gather more than 5 people at a single time. So trying to do a reading where we had every actor had to read by themselves, and eventually it became its own thing, which we released very, very briefly, and we're going to re-release it later on, sometime after the New Year rolls over. But the pandemic actually gave us an opportunity to work with actors who never met each other, who don't know each other. It's 23 different actors, and then it's all filmed and edited together. Then we began to expand on that, and we worked with actors who are in New York, we worked with actors in Toronto, we worked with actors in Spain, in Madrid, and it's all edited together. And it's something that I never thought of, us doing. By the way, I'm with Stephen Hadid. He's the one who won the grant. He was our male lead. And not not a lot of people could understand what our intention was. There times I didn't understand what my intention was as a writer, as a director, as somebody who works mainly in the theater. But because the theater had been shuttered and continues to be shuttered for the rest of, you know, God knows when it will reopen. So it was very, very difficult telling people what we were doing. And a lot of what we did was, because of contributions from people who they know your work, they like your work. This is what I can give to you, anything to encourage. And then this grant came along, and really, who saw that coming? So it gave us an opportunity to work in a way that we have never worked before in terms of dealing with actors who are all in their own individual spaces. Now, if you go to my YouTube channel, you're going to see snippets and trailers and everything of how we actually put it together. So it's just type in my name and you will find it. Post-pandemic, I intend to continue using this technique, a technique that I could not have used without the pandemic. So this now is a whole opportunity for us to connect with other people in the Caribbean, because I remember thinking, okay, we can now play to a broader audience because we're no longer in the theater, you're constrained to the audience in your country and not even all of your country. Now we can connect to people in Europe, we can connect to people in North America, in the United Kingdom, we can connect with people in India, in Africa, wherever. And it's so odd to see something like that coming out of a pandemic, which kind of, kicked us in the face to say, you need to do something and not just stifle everything. So it's wonderful to be encouraged, and not just only on a national level, but on a regional level. Um, I look forward to sharing, with people in the region. Um, I thank you all. I thank all the artists. I don't think anybody understood what I was saying when I was talking months ago about artists in crisis. Um, our project helped us to, it helped us to keep us going, to say, okay, this sun will come out and there will be a new day. And, we're going to come out of this having learned something. So thank you for helping us to learn it. Thank you for writing. Thank you for drawing. Thank you for dancing. And, just, this is so great. This is so brilliant. I so look forward to joining the Facebook group. I will meet all of you all on Instagram. I will meet you all wherever. Thank you, thank you. Massive applause, massive, 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 massive applause. And Rochelle, I really look forward to more from you. I mean, because you're the only one who really performed, and it was so beautifully written. And Jackie, thank you, thank you, thank you. You all are so much bigger than this screen, eh? And yay us! Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate all the comments, not just from the persons who shared vocally, but certainly from the messages coming through on the chat. So we want to thank everybody there for sharing. Now there are a couple of requests for different things in the chat. I'm hoping we've been looking at what's going on there as well. And then, of course, lots and lots of thank you. It was an absolute pleasure bringing this afternoon's event to you. We truly, truly want to say a big thank you again to the persons who shared. This meetup was really an amazing one, and the stories shared they all have been really, really great. And so we really want to thank the awardees for sharing. We also want to thank the attendees, the participants, for being really good and asking lots of questions and keeping the session really great and alive. So we thank you for your many comments and the questions that you shared that really helped to create an amazing and rich experience this afternoon. Catherine, I want to say thank you as well for monitoring what was going on in YouTube, over on YouTube there, and just sharing with us as well. So thanks a lot for that. We're about to close out, and so at this point, I just want to say all the best for this season. Please continue to remain safe and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you very much for joining. Have a good evening.